to the Monday, another week on RTO with Iain. Before we start today, it's going to be very quiet because Rocky is at the groomers, so there'll be no snoring, no clippity clop, which will be a shame because everyone seems to like Rocky's clippity clock and his snoring. So today, what are we starting off the week with? Well, as a certain band released an album the first time in 40 years last week or so, I thought we would look at ABBA. Now, when it comes to the albums, I've only really heard two albums. Well, there's three. Arrival, the ABBA the album, and like a best of that came out in the 70s. So some of these albums I'd never heard at all. I'd heard some, obviously I'd heard the singles off the album, but I'd never heard the album track. So this recent listening for me, listening to this ABBA stuff, and I found there's some pretty deep cut tracks that are pretty good, and then there's some that are not so good. So, ABBA, formed in 1972 by Agnetha Falstad, Björn Ulvaeus, I'm not very good on pronounce, Benny Andersson and Annie Friegling's dad. Very iconic band, came to fame, of course, Eurovision Song Contest with a certain song called Waterloo, and the rest is history. To date, they have released 9 albums. So, let's have a look at these 9 albums. So, coming in at number 1 then. Coming in at number 9. Till it's Monday, can't you? Been up ages. Coming at number 9 then is the 8th album, released in 1981. And it was the last one before the current one, The Visitors. It's okay. We'll have a look at this. First track is the title track, The Visitors. It's pleasant enough. It's got some nice keyboard in it. Very poppy for the time when it came out. I'll go with it. It's pleasant enough. I wouldn't switch it off. The next track, Head Over Heels, obviously I've heard this one, this was a single. It's got a quite catchy tune. Benny Andersson can write some great melodies, and the harmonies from the two ladies are very, very good on that track. Favourite track off this album. Then we have a track called When All Is Said and Done. It's pleasant enough, doesn't grab me by the horns, I'm afraid. Soldiers, again, it's pleasant, doesn't inspire me to do much though. I Let the Music Speak. I do like the keyboard arrangement in this. It's not too bad. Then we get another single, One of Us, a typical ABBA pop song, and there's nothing wrong with it. It's very pleasant. Slipping Through My Fingers. Harmonies are okay in this, but the song's not inspiring. Probably one of the weaker tracks on the album. And then we got the last track, Like an Angel Passing Through My Room. I can't really get on with that one either. It's too poppy for me. I mean, I like a bit of pop music, but that's too poppy. Okay. This album was very generic. You could tell this was the end of the road for them. I think they were struggling to put out a decent album. Although it has got some good tracks on it. 1 or 2 of them are pretty good. I mean, the singles are really, really good. But as far as the other tracks, they're a little bit substandard for ABBA, in my opinion. So I'm going to give it an RTO ranking of 6 out of 10. Okay then, coming in at number 8, we have the 7th album, released in 1980. It is Super Trouper. First track, is the title track, Super Trouper. Classic ABBA song, and just missed out on my top 10 if you remember. Got an honourable mention. It's a nice catchy tune. I've got no problems with it. Part of my growing up, no problem with that one. The next track, The Winner Takes It All. I actually like this one. This just missed out on everything in my top 10. If there'd have been a top 20, this would have definitely got in my top 20 without a doubt. It's a very, very good song. Great vocal, catchy tune again. Then we get On and On and On. Really like this one. Always have liked this one. Was number 8 in my top 10 if you remember. So it's my favourite track on the album. And Dante. It's not a bad little track. Quite poppy. Got a catchy hook to it. Nothing wrong with that. Me and I, again, very, very catchy tune. Nice hook. One thing that ABBA are good at, well, Benny Anderson is getting right in them hooky tunes, and that's one of them. Then we get Happy New Year. Oh, it's okay. It's not bad at all. A La Summer, bit generic to me. Churning out stuff for the sake of it on that one. Then we get a really cool track called The Piper. Quite a little ditty this is. A little gem on the album. Pretty good. Then we get one of my honourable mentions, Lay Your Love On Me. Really good track. And for some reason we get a live track the way Friends do. It's okay. Not my favourite. Bit of an arm sort of swaying sort of thing that I'm not particularly into. Okay, the album is good. Probably the best, the last of that run when they had absolutely belting albums. There are some good tracks on here, of course. So I'll give it an RTO ranking of 6.4. Okay then, coming in at number 7. They have the 6th album released in 1979. Voulez Vous. Again, a little bit of a mixed album, has got some good stuff on it. First track is called As Good As New. Very disco, funky guitar type thing. All cool for the time, I suppose, but now it sounds a little bit dated. Then we get the single, Voulez Vous. Love this guitar, love the guitar riff, and was my number 10 in my top 10. Pretty good. Then we have I Have a Dream. One of the catchy short songs from ABBA, but not a particularly favourite of mine. I know it was huge, but to me, I didn't like it. I don't like these generic-y sort of wavy arm things, and that was one of them. Angel Eyes, that's alright. The King Has Lost His Crown. Pretty average song that is. Then we get a classic. My number 5 in my top 10. Does Your Mother Know? Or was it number 6? No, it was number 6. Great track. Great vocal from Bjorn. Fantastic. Then we have If It Wasn't for the Nights. It's just not my cup of tea at all. Then we get Chiquitica. Or as I call it, Take Your Teeth Out. Okay, everyone loves this. They say it's a classic. This is not a classic in my eyes. It's just pop dribble. I don't like the words. I don't like the song. It grates on me. Sorry, I know there's a lot of you out there will go, what's he talking about? But remember, it's all to do with my ears and what I hear. If you like it, that's great. But me, I couldn't care less about it. Okay, the next track, Lovers Live a Little Longer. Highlight of this track is all the string arrangements. It's pretty cool. Okay, the last track on the album is Kisses of Fire. It's just ABBA. You know, it's ABBA. It sounds alright. It's got some good tracks on it, this album, but there are some weak ones, and I think this is a particular weak album in places, but it's higher than Super True, because I do like Does Your Mother You Know. Does Your Mother Know? Voulez Vous is good, and I like I Have a Dream a bit. So I'll give it an RTO ranking of 6.5. Okay then, coming in at number 6. It's the 9th album. It was the one that was released 40 years after The Visitors and released on the 5th of November. Voyage. Okay. The first track, I Still Have Faith in You. Very nice words. It's all about the band. I have no qualms with this. It is pretty good. I like that tune. It is really nice, and the girls sound fantastic on it, without a doubt. Their voices, okay, they're not as strong as they were, but you've got to remember these are not. They're in their autumn years now, and to still sing pretty good. That is, I'm quite impressed. When You Dance With Me, Benny hasn't forgotten how to write a poppy quirk track here. It's not bad at all. Little Things. This is quite a Christmassy song, and to be quite honest, it is really nice to hear a Christmas song. A proper Christmas song. We haven't had a proper Christmas song for so many years, thanks to a certain show called The X Factor. But I hope this is released as a Christmas single, because I think it may do a little well, because it's all about Christmas, and we didn't have much of a Christmas last year, of course. This is the sort of song you like for Christmas, even I do. The next track, Don't Shut Me Down. Again, a nice little quirky track. Some nice melodies, very uplifting song, great vocal. Very good. Then we get to my favourite track on the album, Just a Notion. It really goes back to the days of the 70s ABBA. Nice tune, nice catchy lyrics, great chorus, very pleasant song. I Can Be That Woman. I don't like that one at all. It's just wishy-washy for me. Keep an Eye on Dan. Pretty good track. Again, it's got this uplifting melody, and the girls again sound really good on this. Their harmonies are still strong, even though it's an octave lower. I've got no problem with that. They put some of these youngsters to shame. You know, these are the experts on pop songs, and that's quite poppy. Bumblebee. Yeah. The less we say about that, the better. No doubt about it. This isn't bad at all. Again, it's got them catchy hooks, very uplifting, pretty cool. Ode to Freedom. This is great orchestral arrangement in this. Very, very good. Very good track indeed. Okay, what do I think of this new album? It's their first one in 40 years, of course. Has really got some good tracks. I think, I mean, it's got to number 1, hasn't it? But I don't think it's as good as the ones that come next. It sits quite nicely in the middle of the catalogue. It's not a bad album. It's not a fantastic album. But it proves that I can still do it, and actually I'm really pleased it has got to number 1. And it just shows that these oldies have still got it, and Benny's still got it, and fair play to them. So I'll give this an RTOL ranking of 6.8. Okay then, coming in at number 5, we have the second album. It was the first one they actually released under the name ABBA. Released in 1974, and it's Waterloo. First track, Waterloo, of course, classic, number 2 in my top 10, one of the all-time greats of the 70s. Pretty cool track. It is my favourite on the album, without a doubt. Brilliant song. Then we get Sitting in the Palm Tree. This is quite a bit of a reggae vocal. Bjorn does the lead on this. A pretty good reggae song, and I've got no problems with that. It sounds good, it's quality. Then we get a song called King Kong Song. This is quite glam rocky. It's really, really good. Proper rock track. Nothing wrong with that. Sound of the time. Brilliant. Then we get a track called Hasta Mañana. Now I've heard this. This is on this thing they released. This like the best of. It's got quite a lot of these early tracks on, because I hadn't had many singles at this time, but they put out this album that my dad had, and this is one of the tracks on it. And I like this track. I've always liked this track. I love the vocal in it. Then we have a track called My Mama Said. Great bass line. You know, you don't expect me to say that about ABBA songs, but it's great. Thumping bass line and great little tune. Then we have a thing called Dance while the music still goes on. No. Not my cup of tea at all. Then we get Honey Honey. Again, it's one of them one of the songs I'd heard off this album, so I've heard this quite a lot in my youth, and it's quite poppy, catchy. There's nothing wrong with that. The next one, Watch Out. Got some great drumming, a great little rock track again. Fantastic. Then What About Livingston? That's alright. Pretty mediocre sort of track. Gonna Sing You My Love song? No, you're not gonna sing me a love song, because it's not my cup of tea. Last track on the album, Susie Hang Around. This is more of a sort of 60s pop ballad, and there's nothing wrong with it. It is pretty cool. Okay, nice album. Got some great little rockers on. Very solid. Very solid album. I'd never heard this album, and I think it's pretty good. So I'll give it an RTO ranking of 7 out of 10. Okay, coming in at number 4 is the debut album, Ring Ring, from 1973. And it was actually credited to as an album by Bjorn, Benny, Agnetha and Frida. Wasn't released in the UK. It was released in Germany, Australia, South Africa and Mexico. Wasn't released in the UK properly till 1992. In the United States in 1995. But I have heard some of these songs on this album, because it was on this like best of, like the first one, Ring Ring. Quite little rocker this is. Catchy tune, great stuff. Another Town, Another Train. Again, very catchy sort of song from that sort of 73 sort of time. Bit David Essex in places, you know, that sort of era. Pretty good. Disillusion, again, not too bad. People Need Love, that's alright. Good pop song, good 70s pop song. I saw it in the Mirror. Nice slow song here, but got a great bass line and some great harmonies from everybody. Pretty good. Another track that I've heard before was Nina Pretty Ballerina. Very catchy track. Again, it was a great pop song from the 70s. Then we've got Love Isn't Easy But Sure It's Hard Enough. Another really good track. Great guitar work. Great riffs on this. for an ABBA track. Fantastic. Me, Bobby and Bobby's brother. This is what I call European blinky blop. Blinky blonky blop. Yeah, no. Bit papa and all that. No, I don't like that. You can keep that. He's Your Brother. Great rock track this is. My favourite. It's got a really good rock start. Pretty cool track actually. Bit of a gem. Some real gems on these early albums, and that is one of them. Okay, She's My Kind of Girl. A very solid track. Again, it's got that early 60s, 70s, late 60s, early 70s feel to it. Pretty good. Again, I'm Just a Girl, and more of this European plinky plonky stuff with brass and umpaparing and not for me. Rock and Roll Band. Great track. Best one on the album. Very rocky pop, wizardy sort of thing. Pretty good. Okay, a debut album that was very solid. Some absolutely great tracks on this. Some little gems, and they were quite rocking back in the day. So I'll give it an RTO ranking of 7.5. Oh, drying up already. Okay, coming in at number 3. Fifth album. Basically called The Album or ABBA The Album. Released in Scandinavia in 1977. But due to the massive pre-orders in the UK, pressing plants could not cope with it. So it wasn't released in the UK till 1978 in January. This has got some solid stuff on it. This top 3 are pretty cool. This is one of the albums that we had in our house, and I do like some of the tracks on here. First track is Eagle. I'm going to put this in the playlist because it is a fantastic song. It's just something different from this band, and it is a terrific song. I love that track. Then we get Take a Chance on Me. Some of the best harmonies ever put down on vinyl. Benny is the king of pop. Is it my favourite? It's between this and Eagle. I know it only got an honourable mention in my top 10, Eagle. It's still a great song. Then we get One Man, One Woman. Not particularly a great track for me. Then we got another great track that just missed out on the top 10 and my honourable mentions. Again, this is a track that will have definitely been in my top 20. Name of the Game. Great little track that is. Move On. It's pleasant enough, but I don't dislike it, and I'll sit on the fence with that one. That's easy, isn't it? Hole in Your Soul. Got some nice harmonies in this from the ladies. Bit rocky in places as well. Then we get a track that I think is wonderful. Thank You for the Music. Another song that would have been definitely in my top 20. I love the lyric in this. It's got soul, it's got feeling, and it just says thank you for the music. I mean, music is a big part in most of our lives. It is me. Wouldn't be doing this channel if it weren't for music, and that's why it is a very special song. I Wonder. That's alright. That's all I'll say. Then we get a great little number called I Am a Marionette. Now I've loved this track, and then Ghost did it as an EP, and they don't do a bad version of it. It's a very, very good track. Should have been in a musical. It's got that feel to it. It's one of these grand Broadway musical tracks. pretty good. That was the last track on the album. This is a very good album. Some of the material on this is good, and it's probably got some of the best non-single tracks you'll ever hear from ABBA. And I'll give this an RTO ranking of 8.5. Okay then, coming in at number 2, fourth album, released in 1976. This is an album that we had in our house, and a pretty good album it is. I was 10 years old. It came out round about my birthday. I was 10, so I like quite a lot of the tracks on this. First track, When I Kissed the Teacher. Pretty good track. Nice acoustic guitar at the start. Really, really good. Okay, this is the controversial track for Iain. Everybody loves it, except me. It's Dancing Queen. Oh. Like, you can... Oh, shut up. Please. I know there's a lot of you love it, and it was a big hit, but oh, it just grates on me. If I never hear this song again, I won't get upset about it. It just gets played to death. You know, when you say, do you like ABBA? Yeah, I love Dancing Queen. Yeah, they did more songs than Dancing Queen, and Dancing Queen is particularly not one of their better songs. It's corny, it's cheesy, it's just rubbish. Okay, I've upset a lot of people, but this is my ears, and I just thinking about it grates me. My Love, My Life, love the arrangement in this, great singing on it. Then we get a little ditty called Dum Dum Diddle. It's a bit of fun, and there's nothing wrong with that. Then we get the best track ever by ABBA, without a doubt. Blows Dancing Queen out the water. It's Knowing Me, Knowing You. My number 1, of course, in my top 10. Absolutely killer track. Always love that, and always will. Followed up again by another great track, Money, Money, Money. Great little pop track. That's Me. Don't like this one. Even Dancing Queen's better than that one. Why did it have to be me? It's alright. It's got some nice little rock bits on it. It's got some saxophone in it, which sounds pretty good. Then we get Tiger. Nice little rocky track again, a hidden gem on this album. Pretty good little track. And then we get Arrival. I did mention this in my honourable mentions. I like this version. The harmonies are fantastic, and of course Mike Oldfield did a version of this, and that was pretty cool as well. Yeah, great little album. Played in our house a lot. And I suppose why I quite like it, because, you know, goes back to my childhood, and it has got my favourite ABBA track of all time on it. So I will give it an RTO ranking of 8.6. Okay, my number 1. Up until about 4 weeks ago, I'd never heard this album. It was the third album, released in 1975. And it's simply called ABBA. This is superb. It's proper mid-70s pop rock. There's nothing wrong with this. There's not a bad track on this album at all. Opens up with the classic Mamma Mia, number 4 in my top 10. Love this track. It's the heaviness in places I like, and the harmonies are brilliant, and that piano is brilliant. Then we get a track called Hey Hey Helen. Rocks. Absolutely rocks. Terrific riffs in this. Solid rock track. Brilliant. Then we got Tropical Loveland. Bit of a reggae for us. Nothing wrong with that. Really good uplifting reggae sort of. It's that police reggae, bit of that UB40 reggae sound, really good, lot of fun. Then we get another classic, of course, SOS. Number 3 in my top 10, wasn't it? It has to be there. It's a corker. Man in the Middle, bit funky this is. Great singing from Bjorn on it, brilliant. And then we get a great uplifting, foot tapping, great chorus song called Bang a Boomerang, which I'd heard before because it was on this greatest hits thing. Really solid track. I'd heard that one. Then there's a track called I Do, I Do, I Do, I Do. Brilliant track, very 50s, 60s ballad, really good, very catchy. Then we have a great, this is the best track on the album, it's even better than the 2 singles, it's called Rock Me. Absolutely killer track. Great vocal from Bjorn, absolutely rocks it. Fantastic track. I've put it in the playlist. It's brilliant. Then we get a thing called Intermezzo number 1. This I think is Benny showing off his repertoire on the piano, keyboards. Very classical, there's little snippets of classical music in this. It's a lovely little track, it's an instrumental, I really like it. Then we've got a track called I've Been Waiting for You. Great little middle of the road track, but very good, very good 1970s. There's nothing wrong with that, I love 70s music. Then we get a boogie sort of track called So Long. The vocals from the girls on this is absolutely at the top drawer. They are shrieking good and proper and absolutely killing this track, absolute killer. Another brilliant track. This album has got to be probably the rockiest, hardest, heaviest album that ABBA ever did. That's probably why it's my number 1. It's from an era that it's very dear to me, the 70s, and it's a pretty solid rock pop album without a doubt. And I'll give this an RTO ranking of 9 out of 10. Okay then. Okay, there's going to be a lot of people on here that probably don't agree with me. But as I've only listened to these albums, all of them, in the last 4 weeks or so, this is pretty how much as I see it at the moment. Might change, I don't know. But my number 1 album, well, I don't think will ever change. I think it's just quality. Absolute quality, that album is. I know that Dancing Queen is a firm favourite of a lot of people, but there must be other people out there that don't like Dancing Queen. Am I just the only one? Okay, before we go, what are we going to talk about? Yes, he's right, as he grabs it, because he put it in the right place. Yes, the Christmas quiz on the 23rd of December. If you would like to take part in this fantastic quiz, just email me at the email address below. Don't forget to check out Redbubble. You'll find it in the banner at the beginning of the channel when you click on it. And I'll be back later with a classic album. This week it's probably the most controversial cover ever. It's Blind Faith. Great bluesy album. Bit of a super group. So we'll be looking at that. So I'll be back for that later. So take care for now.